In the demo, we'll continue with our commodity dataset. We'll be diving deeper into DAX measures, applying iterators, and learning how to use variables in a calculate function. In the last chapter, we created a calculate column to work out the difference between the opening and closing price. Now we'll create a measure that uses an iterator function to do the same calculation. First, we'll start by creating a new measure called average trade difference, and start by typing average, which will use PowerBI's IntelliSense to show all the matching functions. We'll select average x from the drop-down list. The average x function takes two arguments: the table where the aggregation will be applied, in this case commodities. The second argument will be the calculation we are looking to perform on each row. In this case, it will be close subtracted by open. We can now commit this measure by pressing enter. Let's visualize this on a card. We can now see the average daily trade difference of 3.58 across all commodities. Great! Now we've created our first measure using an iterator function. Next, we're going to learn how to use the calculate function. These are one of the most used functions in DAX due to its ability to modify and have priority over the filter context. We'll create a new measure called gold volume 21. For this measure, we want to get the sum of all gold trades that occurred in 2021. In our calculate function, our first argument will be the sum of volume. Now that we've added our expression to be calculated, we can now add the filters we want to apply by using the filter function. The filter function takes a table to be filtered and the specific filter to be applied. Our first filter will be on the table commodities, where symbol is equal to gold. Next, we'll filter the same table again, but this time filtering for the year 2021. For this, we will be using the year function, which we will cover in the next chapter. Great job! Now we can visualize this new measure on a card. We can see the total gold volume for 2021 is 308,000. The final concept we'll be covering is a new topic we haven't covered yet, called variables. Variables are very useful when writing DAX calculations. As you write more DAX formulas, you'll see that they can get very complex very quickly. Variables help simplify your code as well as increase readability and performance. Variables can contain static values or snippets of code that may be reusable in your query. To get familiar with variables, we can look at using variables in conjunction with calculate. We've created the measure gold volume 21, but how about if we'd like to see the percentage growth in volume versus 2020? A measure has been created called no variable. Let's take a peek. This shows us a DAX formula that does not utilize variables. If you look closely, you can see that the calculate function is being used twice. This is inefficient for PowerBI as it has to evaluate the same expression twice. Let's copy the formula as we'll be using this in our new measure. Let's create a new measure that uses variables called gold 21 versus 20. First, let's create a variable called gold volume 20. Here we can paste the formula we just copied. Now we have a variable that calculates gold volume for 2020. We'll now declare our return statement that will compute our calculation. We will use the divide function to work out the percentage difference. For the numerator, we'll calculate the difference between 2021 versus 2020. So gold volume 21 minus gold volume 20. Next, we'll set the denominator to be gold volume 20. We can now commit this measure and format it as a percentage and round it to 0. Now we can put this into a card visual and see that there was a massive increase of 480% in trades of gold. We've seen variables, iterators, and calculate in action. Now it's your turn. Let's practice.